Hello my friends and welcome to another vlog from right here in Western Australia. Now, where are we at? We've got David Bird here from Cars with Character.
Yep.
It's very echoey here, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it is very echoey. And nobody likes to hear my voice twice, so I'll probably move out this way a little bit. Yeah, well anyway, we'll go with it. So
we'll
where are we?
We'll be fine. Yeah.
Whereabouts are we today?
We're at Whiteman Park.
Yeah.
At the Motor Museum of Western Australia.
And we've got lots of different cars in there.
All sorts of different cars.
No electric cars.
Well, there might be now. There wasn't 6 months ago when I was here last.
Well, we hope not, because it could be a fire hazard, a potential fire hazard. We're going to take a look around though. We're actually going to meet somebody here today.
We're going to meet Patrick O'Callaghan, yes, who's the manager.
And he runs the place.
Yes, he runs the place. Most of the heavy work, shall we say, is done by volunteers.
Okay.
So, and they're all knowledgeable.
And these are open 7 days a week, I believe.
Yep.
And they've got various different cars from all around the world. Any British cars in there?
Yes.
Any Capris?
There wasn't last time, but there could be this time. But there is a Morris Marina.
No, there's a Morris Marina. I'll tell you what, it's going to be really interesting because it's going to be nostalgic. And if there are any electric cars, I'll steer well clear, don't worry. If you're new to the channel, by the way, do hit the subscribe button, click the little bell for notifications of when I upload new videos. Subscribe to this guy here. I'll put his channel on the end and down below. He's all about cars and he knows his stuff, so make sure you head over and subscribe to him. Now, without further ado, my friends, let's go. Right, so there you go. Good news, my friends. Very good news. Because I found out what's in there.
Yes.
And we know what's in there.
Yes, we do.
What do you think it is? Could it be an electric car? No. Could it be a Ford Capri?
There are two Ford Capris.
Two Ford Capris.
There's the Capri that you know.
Yeah.
And there's the Ford Capri that was built in Australia.
What's the one built in Australia?
It's a front-wheel drive, soft top, shall we say?
A soft top Ford Capri.
Yeah, it's next to the other Capri.
This is too much excitement for one day. I'm sorry, but this needs an 18 certificate now because it is. I am super excited about this, and I don't like the word super excited. So let's get in there. Right, okay, so there are actually electric vehicles in here, believe it or not, and it's a really, really interesting one because we've got a self-driving electric bus behind us here. We've got Patrick here, you're the manager of this.
I am, Lou, yes.
And he's going to tell us a little bit more. So I'm going to keep quiet and I'm going to pass you over to Patrick.
Thank you, Lou. This is the RAC IntelliBus. RAC is our road safety organisation. And they introduced this bus roughly 7 years ago to collect data about 90% of all accidents on the road are driver error. So they're looking to try and change that by understanding patterns, etc. So they introduced the autonomous bus. It's done roughly 27,000 kilometres over the 7 years. It's picked up 38,000 passengers. And it's been operating along the Perth Porsche. And they did that trial, collected all the data they needed, and now it's now an exhibit in our museum showing people the technology of the future. Because in our museum we've got a 1914 electric vehicle.
Oh wow, okay.
Detroit electric, and now 2024 an autonomous electric vehicle.
How does it work?
Well, there are cameras set up. It runs on 4 cameras at the front.
Yeah.
which positions, picks up all the information. The one up the top, the camera up the top does a 3D image. And so that picks up if there are children running across or if there are cars parking in front. And the other cameras pinpoint its location through sat-nav. So it's up to a centimetre, perfect to be able to pull up. Centimetre. So pretty amazing. So passengers hop on, they hop off, doors close, off it goes to the next predetermined location. So it can fit 12 passengers in, seat belted in. It's got a lift for people who need disability access, so it's perfect.
Oh, wow. Was there anybody, monitoring it, or is it all just monitored, I guess?
No, there was a person on board all the time,
Yeah.
making sure that everything worked correctly.
Yeah.
So there was a safety gap measure in it.
Yeah.
But the whole idea of this process was to get to the point where you could have autonomous self-drive buses picking people up and dropping people off.
The future of public transport.
It is indeed.
Wow, can we have a look inside?
Sure, absolutely.
Brilliant. Come on, follow me.
So this little video just explains to people
Yeah.
what the idea of the autonomous bus is, and how not only this bus but all the information gathered from this bus will assist car manufacturers in time to come about autonomous transport.
Wow.
As you can see here, that's the 3D image
Oh,
that's picked up from the top of the bus, and that's the journey in the South Perth foreshore. So that's really the eyes of the Intellibus.
Wow. So it's actually got its own eyes, basically.
Absolutely. And then in here,
Oh, wow.
this is really
Look at this.
for younger generation people. They'll look upon this and see that it's driven by an Xbox. and so when it is off autonomous and you need to drive it, you drive it by an Xbox control. So that pushes it forward or reverse or turns the wheels left or right.
Wow.
And there's the computer system that drives the bus.
Blimey.
Pretty amazing.
It is. Fantastic. So maybe electric is the future after all.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So the Automobile Club was the first one in Australia. The RAC was the first one in Australia to run this project. Now there is another project in New South Wales. They're doing a similar study.
Oh, do you think it'll be the future then eventually?
Eventually,
Yeah.
eventually it'll be the future, because they're wanting to take out autonomous vehicles. Don't drink and drive.
Yeah.
They don't fall asleep.
Yeah,
They don't get
ill.
distracted. They don't get So all of those sort of things make it a possibility that once they work out the bugs, if there are any. But I suppose the greatest issue is for the bus to be able to identify the threat.
Yeah.
So if someone pulls up quickly in front,
Yeah.
or an animal or a child runs out in front of the bus, it's got to be able to react safely and quickly.
I guess that though is why they're running these trials though, is to learn all this. They've got somebody on board with ultimately eventually having nobody on board and ironing out all the issues, etc. Like you say, animals running out in front, or kangaroos here in, in Australia. So
Not so much in the city, but yeah.
yeah, and it may be even quicker to response than an actual human. In
In time.
Yeah, time.
AI intelligence is the forefront of where we're going.
And you've got one of the first electric cars here.
Yeah,
as well.
1914 Detroit Electric.
All electric.
All electric.
Can we have a look at that?
We certainly can.
Come on, let's have a look.
Okay.
Right, so you may think that electric cars are the future, but just some information for people out there who say, oh, it's the future, it's the future. It's also the past, because we've got, is this one of the, well, Patrick will tell us, so.
This is our 1914 Detroit Electric. They, during the war, fuel became scarce. It was used for the war effort, so there was a lot of other ideas about what could power vehicles, and electric vehicles the concept had been out for a while. So they developed Detroit developed the electric 1914, powered by 8 batteries, 4 in the front, 4 in the rear. It had an average speed of about 60 k's an hour. It'd roughly go for about 60 k's, before you needed another charge, which was in that system there. That was the 1917 battery charger.
This was the charger.
Yep, that was it. That's the charger there. Yep.
Blimey.
They were very expensive, like today with electric vehicles.
Yeah.
It would be in 1914, it would be an average of 6 years' salary for a person to be able to buy one. So the well-to-do, so they were mainly bought by women and doctors, because doctors need to be able to get in the vehicle and take off straight away. And well-to-do women didn't want to be down cranking the handle of a T model.
Yeah.
And Henry Ford's wife even had a 1914 electric.
Really?
Yeah, it did.
I didn't know that.
And they were powered by a paddle, so it's like a rudder, a steering rudder, and similar
So
concept.
no steering
No
wheel.
steering wheel, no, it's a rudder. And similarly, pedal down, and it's registered currently, so it can drive on the roads. It does drive on the roads.
Oh, wow. Look at that. God. So nothing's, it's not really a new concept then
Not
at all.
a new concept, no.
That's fantastic. 1914.
14.
Blimey. There you go. Electric cars. They are the past.
And the future.
And the future. Right, so also behind us, maybe, you see, we're thinking, well, electric's the future, electric was also in the past, then we've got petrol, we've got diesel, and then we're thinking about hydrogen, but now, what about steam-powered cars?
That's right, Lee. In 1923, the Stanley brothers, who were developers and inventors, had a hotel in Colorado at Estes Park called the Stanley Hotel. And they needed to be able to get people up into that hotel because the road system was there, but it wasn't great. So they thought, what could we do? And they developed the Stanley Steamer. And the Stanley Steamer is powered, obviously, by steam. And that was used to bring people up from Boulder, Colorado, up into Estes Park. And that's how that process developed. There were 3 Stanley Steamers in Perth, and this is the last one of them.
Steam powered. Was that from water then that they put in? Or?
Yeah, water. That's just like as you've got your Flying Scotsman
Yeah.
running on steam, same sort of process.
And is this part of it they're here or?
This here is the engine system. Yep, absolutely. So you can
Oh,
see there that similar to a train, same concept. That's what powers the wheels. Yep.
Blimey. Maybe then, maybe steam's the future. Just water, and doesn't really. We've got loads of water in the sea. Could use that.
Absolutely.
Oh, brilliant! I'm loving this. Lots more cars as well, and don't worry, the Capri's coming soon as well. Every motor museum that I've been in so far around the world, they show you the cars. However, cars like this that have got history to them, they don't ever start them up. And especially when they're this old. Now these actually start, they're working
They do.
engines.
Yep,
Wow.
absolutely do.
So Patrick's going to tell us a little bit about them and also start the engines up as well.
Well, this is a 1929 Buick. We found this in a shed, and if you look at the front rims, you'll see that they're all scarred and marked, because when we found it in the shed, the guy who owned it just got in it, started it up, drove it out of his shed on the rims, just exactly like this, onto our truck, and we put it in the museum. And we start it every day just to show people that old things do work, never throw anything out. So easily, pretty amazing, isn't it?
Wow.
Now, as you'll see with the engine, we've done nothing to it. All we've done is put some insulation tape around the distributor leads, so it was sorting on the block. Purrs like a dream.
Look at that.
There you go.
And what's this one that we've got over here?
Over here is in the northwest of Australia, the mining industry and the rural industry was really opened up by the use of vehicles, and Toyota in particular. Massive amount of Toyotas up in the northwest. They were doing all the exploration, and this one here, as you can see, has had a lot of hard work up in the northwest, and it also just starts up easily.
Wow. And that's the Toyota Land Cruiser then?
Toyota Land Cruiser. What was amazing about this was it sat in this museum for 12 years.
Really?
Without no one, it sat there in that position with it never starting the engine. And last year we said, wonder if that thing can crank up. And so they changed the fuel filter, cleaned out the carbs, and as you can see, it cranks up.
That's crazy. Toyota Land Cruisers, though, it was always a thing on Top Gear with, I think, Jeremy Clarkson and his team, that the Land Cruisers were literally indestructible.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, you couldn't kill one off. Actually, it really does get quite emotional seeing all these cars and the nostalgia. It's really is fantastic. Love it. Absolutely love it.
Wonderful.
Right, for me, this is really quite emotional because obviously viewers of the channel will know that I spent 12 years of my life in New Jersey over the water from Manhattan, and in that time you saw taxis sort of like go from the big, I think they were Ford ones at the time,
yep.
And then some of them now unfortunately are Teslas, but that's another story. But the original ones back in the day, and everybody will remember the TV series with Danny DeVito, Taxi, and it was this style of taxi cab, which is the original ones that was off of that movie. Is this from New York?
This is from New York. This is a real checker made by the Marathon Car Company. Taxi companies insisted they keep the shape and the design for nearly 20 years until the manufacturer said, look, we need to change the molds.
Yeah.
The reason being is they were rarely off the road. They were a V8, very solid motor, but the most important thing about it was all these little, see this panel here?
Yeah.
So if you had a bingle, if you had an accident, all they needed to do was take that off, unscrew the screws, bolt on another panel, and they were back out. Whereas today, they would need to replace the whole panel. So that's why taxi drivers loved them, because everything was replaceable. And so if they had a small accident, they could still keep earning a capacity and have it fixed very quickly.
Oh, fantastic. Why have they got... They should bring them back. I think they should bring them back, even if they want to make them electric, although a V8?
It's a V8, yeah.
Keep the V8, forget the electric, bring them back. New York, if you're watching, the Mayor of New York, bring these back. Just a few. People would be queuing up to get in them.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. I love it. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's registered, drives on the road.
It's registered again.
Yeah. What I love about it is no diff.
Ah, so the back, because when you get in the modern day cabs now, taxi cabs in New York, it's very tight in the back there, and I can't get my legs in being 6'4", but in the back here, it's quite spacious, and there's no
differential hump.
No differential hump in there. It's brilliant. Solid. Thank you very much. Right, so you know I like the Ford Capri. So I think what we'll do first is, if we go over here, we've got David, by the way, excellent cameraman there. We've got the Ford Capri here, which is the British Ford Capri, which is 1972. Now this one is the V6 GT. This is the car that you always promised yourself, and I will have one eventually, mark my words, and it will be, I liked them both. There was Mark 1, 2, and I believe there was a Mark 3 that was in the professionals. This one, I believe, what was it, the guy out of Minder, Who's the guy in mind? I can't remember what his name was.
Uh,
David Waterman.
Dennis
Waterman, that's
Dennis
it.
Waterman.
Yeah.
Dennis Waterman, but the character was McCann.
McCann, Terry McCann.
Terry McCann, that's it. And he had one of these, I believe, which was the first one. Right, so before we head over to the Australian Ford Capri, see the face there? I thought it was going to be... you'll see what I mean in a minute. The Brit one is better, sorry, but the British one is better. We're going to just... Patrick's going to tell us a little bit about this one, because they put a symbol and an emblem on it when they shipped... Did they make
They were
these?
made here.
They were made here,
Yep.
but probably under license from Ford in the UK, I guess. But they put a little symbol on it. Tell us a little bit more.
They for the Australian market, all the Ford GTs had what they called a Suparoo. So it was a kangaroo with a fast tyre making traction motion. But this, because they were a V6, they were a 3000, and so extremely fast and very desirable by people. So no, a great car.
Now, follow us. We'll just keep rolling. The Australian Ford Capri. You can tell me what you think of this in the comment section down below, but be kind. Be kind. So this is the Australian Ford Capri, which looks like a Datsun or a Mazda or something.
Well, it's got a Mazda underbody to it, but this Ford Capri, in actual fact, was designed in Australia, the shape of it. So that's why it's got a place in our museum, because it's an Australian design, but Mazda end up taking it over and making a 323 out of it. It's a 3-speed. It was also made in a left-hand drive for the American market, as well. But it was very popular in Australia for a number of years, and a good-looking unit. But totally different to your Ford Capri.
That's the car you always promised yourself, and that's the car that you end up getting.
Before his time, yeah.
And another electric car up there, which was the Sinclair C5, which was supposed to be the future at one point.
It was going to be the future.
Designed by the legend himself, Sir Clive Sinclair, which David will know about. Could be ZX Spectrums, which were very popular back in the UK, one of the most popular computers actually. And then he let himself down and brought that out. The idea was there.
The idea was solid.
I think he was just a little bit too soon with it, that's all. But he did see the future.
I wouldn't like to be in London driving around in a C5.
Not now, definitely not. No, definitely not. As you were saying, there was a little flag on the back.
There was a little flag to protect you.
to protect you so that cars could see you because they're too low. But wow, so much nostalgia around here. Let's keep looking around. Even got Scale Electric here as well. Now I had a Scale Electric when I was a kid. It was a Le Mans 24-hour with 2 Porsches on it, a silver one and a gold one. And I always thought to myself, and I always promised myself, that I'd get a Porsche one day. I didn't realise though that it was just going to be a larger version of a Scale Electric. Okay, wow.
This area here is called Volunteers Way, and we wanted to be able to honour our volunteers. We've got roughly 90 volunteers. 90. The whole museum has 1 manager and 90 volunteers. It was set up 30 years ago as a not-for-profit, independently run, so no interference from any bodies, and it's been supported by volunteers all that time. So we've got a board here which every star on that board represents 5 years continuous volunteering service. So as you can see there are people who've done over 25 years, and we've got currently 6 volunteers who have done nearly 30 years service.
30 years?
30 years.
Wow.
And that will be their next star. They'll have 6 stars up.
And this is the new building that we're going into here. Just having a look, opened by Daniel Ricciardo. Daniel Ricciardo, as you well know, is a Perth-born West Australian who raced for Red Bull and McLaren, and is now back with the Red Bull team. And his F1 that he won his first Grand Prix in is in our museum, kindly on loan from Daniel. Oh, is that in here?
That is in this building.
Oh, let's go and take a look. Right, so here we go, Patrick, over to you.
Lee, as I said before, we're very fortunate that Daniel Ricciardo is a West Australian and we're lucky enough to be able to have his RB10 here from 2014. This is the car that he won his first Grand Prix in Montreal in Canada, and that year he went on to win another 9 podiums. So it was a very, very successful year for Daniel, and at the end of it they presented him with this RB10, and we're lucky enough to have it on long-term loan.
Can I just ask, how small is it? Because I'd never get in there.
No, it is very small. People our size wouldn't ever get into it. But they lose a lot of weight during an F1 race. They lose about 4 kilos, I'm told.
Really?
Yeah, from the heat. And all F1 drivers are pretty thin.
Yeah, I'd be like that episode of where Top Gear or Grand Tour, I think it is, where Jeremy Clarkson gets in this race car and he can't get out. They have to take the steering wheel to get him out. I think I'd be the same after all the fish and chips that I've had on this trip. That is fantastic.
Yeah, the most popular exhibit we have.
Really?
Yep, very iconic.
And not electric,
And
I
not
hasten to add. Right, so got a Porsche 911 here, proper Porsche. Basically, if you have a Porsche, it's got to be a 911, hasn't it? Really?
It does have to be a 911.
Any other Porsche is not real. Really.
Oh, right.
That's the rules. Any other Porsche, you've got the Boxster, which I've had about 9 of, or 8 of them, I think, and that's a hairdresser's car, apparently.
Oh, right.
Okay. Then you've got the Taycan, which is what I have now, which is a milk float. This,
Milk float.
yes, a milk float. It's just electric milk float, or a go-kart. But this is a classic shape of the 911. What I like about the 911 is that the iconic shape over the years, it's evolved, but it hasn't really changed. The core of it hasn't changed. You can still see, even if you don't put a badge on it or a name on it, you can still tell it's a 911. And there's some history behind this one. Whose is this?
This was a restoration project by Daniel Ricciardo's father, Joe, and he restored this over a 6-month period, and did it so he could race in tarmac racing and rally racing around Western Australia. And that was purchased by another gentleman, and hence it's in our museum, in our racing section.
I think, when my electric car comes to the end, when it's run out of battery, we'll have it shipped over and you can pop it in here and
More than happy.
and display
We'll bring
the
it in.
Taycan in here.
We can do that.
Right, now then, we have a hybrid car. You would think it's a hybrid car. This is the BMW i8, is it? i8?
I
i8. A little bit of history behind it. Again, I'm going to pass you over to the pro here, Patrick.
Thanks, Lee. Well, yes, this car here was used actually in Mission Impossible. And what's unique about this car is, in actual fact, it's plastic. So in the old days, when movie houses wanted to get cars for a movie like Dukes of Hazzard or whatever, they'd go to the movie house and say, we need 15 of these to be able to blow up, throw up, whatever. That became exceptionally expensive for movie houses to do. So now what they do is they make a plastic model or fiberglass model and set it up exactly like with the wheels, the lights and everything. And now they just blow them up and catapult them off a cliff, and it's a lot more cost effective for car manufacturers to do. And this is one example.
Is it heavy?
No, it's very light. I can move it. It's on trolley wheels.
It looks real.
It does look real.
It looks absolutely spot on. So this was actually in Mission Impossible.
It was in
it?
Mission Impossible. Yep, that's correct.
Do I look like Tom Cruise? No.
So if you wanted to pose in your driveway, it's a very cost-effective way of putting a $300,000 car out for 10.
Don't tell people that. They'll figure out that my Taycan's not real. That's just fiberglass. Right, so behind us here, we've got the iconic Mini. China, if you are watching, right, this is a Mini, okay? What you're building at the moment, an electric version of it, which is built in China, is not a Mini. That's huge. Anyway, this is the original Mini, and you're going to tell us basically there's a record here, but also something that really is perfect about it, which you just told me.
Lee, the world record for people fitting into a Mini is 21. 21 adults, made a couple of years ago. But for Australians, the most important thing we like about the Mini is that years ago used to buy 12 beers in what they'd call a carton of long necks. And the side panels of the Mini on driver's side and passenger side fit 6 bottles perfectly each. So you could have a carton and you could take it away with you. Perfect.
That is brilliant, because we were sold back in the 80s and the 70s that
Yep.
Australians loved their
We like
lager.
our lager.
That just proves it. Brilliant.
They should have just made it refrigerated. It would have been perfect.
Right, so here we have, this caught my eye because it's got Leyland on here. Now I immediately said British Leyland, which, David behind the camera, was that the Princess? No? What did they...
Leyland Princess.
Leyland
You thought it was an
Princess,
Austin
which
before.
I thought was an Austin Princess, and David very correctly corrected me. Now this is the Australian branch of it, and you're going to tell us a little bit more about this car.
Yeah, they were produced at Zetland, which is a suburb of Sydney, where all the BMC stuff was put together. They made only 9. They still all survived. The rest were crushed. They had lots of bodies already produced, but they were crushed. One went to the UK, and they built one station wagon that also went to the UK for someone high up in British Leyland over there as to sort of feel the market out. But unfortunately, it never happened,
Oh,
which is a shame. Yeah.
quite a big engine in it as well.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's not a Rover engine.
Okay, what engine is it?
It's a Leyland engine,
Yeah.
and it was completely made in Australia. A lot of people think it's a Rover engine. It's not. No part off the Leyland engine will fit a Rover engine. They're
Right.
entirely different altogether. One's got 12 head studs, one's got 15 head studs. But a lot of people mistakenly think that it's a Rover engine. It's not. Yeah.
What's
So if you want to,
What's the size of the engine?
it's a 4.5 litres.
4.5 litres,
yeah.
blimey. Do you want to have a look at the engine? It's, yeah, I'll have a look, David, there you go.
Very well designed, and they were way ahead of a lot of the Australian manufacturers. The heater was there where you could get at, where it was Holdens and Falcons. It was underneath the dashboard, the wiper motor and everything. Everyone was exposed. A really well designed car. It's just a pity that British Leyland wouldn't give any money to Australia for any development, and it folded.
What? Hang on a minute. We got... David will agree with me here. I'm sure you will. Well, you can tell me if you don't. We got the Leyland Princess, right, which was...
Yeah, I've seen one. Yeah.
You see, you're leaving, you're laughing. Right, we got the Leyland Princess, and David's smiling. And you got the Force 7V. What went on there?
Yeah.
It was not... That's not fair.
Of course, taking the distances in Australia compared to what you have in the UK,
Yeah.
it's a big, well, virtually a family car, isn't it?
It is.
Mm.
Oh yeah. You look. See this. As a kid, well, as a teenager, you'd be out cruising in this with your arm on the window ledge or whatever it is, the window ledge, and then you'd be like looking cool, picking up the chicks, but not so much in an Austin Princess. Right. So this gets a bit of this. Is this a half convertible? Is it? It's really good. You got a screen in front there. Now then, Patrick, can you tell us a little bit about the history of the museum, etc.?
Yep, I can, Lee. The museum was set up 30 years ago in 1994. What occurred was there was a rare collection called the Percy Markham collection that was donated to the West Australian Museum. And at the time, the government sought fit to sell parts of that collection. And that angered a number of motoring enthusiasts in the state. And they said, well, that shouldn't happen. We should set up our own museum, totally independent of any bodies. And so they formed a non-for-profit trust. And it would be run by volunteers, and that's how this museum was created. So for over 30 years, many people have given lots of hours towards establishing this museum. And everything that you see in here has been donated to the museum. So if someone brings something in, we take it. We've got roughly 140 cars, of which we own, or of which 60 have been 60% have been donated to the museum, 40% are on loan. And we try to keep that ratio, so every time you come back, 40% of the museum will have different vehicles in it.
Oh, that's good. So you can carry on visiting
Carry on,
and
visit. So it's all about repeat. We've got a reference library here. Again, donated manuals, magazines, 37,000 articles we have in the library, and that again is all run by volunteers. So the volunteers have just their heart and soul is in this museum, and you can see as you look around, it's got a lot of passion in it.
And with it being not owned by larger conglomerates, etc., that gives you more scope to do things that you want to do.
Absolutely.
And there's no sort of like people interfering from above.
No, we've got a 4-person board, and that 4-person board looks after the financial and corporate side of it, and then we've got 90 volunteers who look after the day-to-day operation of it. And it runs exceptionally well.
All passionate about cars, obviously.
All passionate. Well, not necessarily. We've got a number of people who just like the vibe of the place.
Yeah.
And enjoy every day. We've got 6 to 7 volunteers. We operate 364 days a year, and every day we've got a group of different volunteers, and they all get on like a house on fire.
And I think you've got a restaurant here as well, haven't you?
Attached, not
Attached
in the museum, but next to the museum there's a cafe.
So it's a great day out, really. For
Oh,
the
it's a
family.
fantastic day out. The park itself is a heritage park. It's a state government. The land is state government, and there's a tractor museum, motor museum, bus preservation society, tram preservation, and railway. So we have a steam engine that also runs around the park.
Oh,
And
wow.
at the end of the year, we'll have a train station at the entrance to the park, and that'll run directly from the city, and people can get here in about half an hour.
It's fantastic.
It is. Yeah,
really,
wonderful.
Really is a great place.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your day.
Cheers. Right now, David, you're back again.
I am,
Back this
yes.
side of the camera.
I am, yes, for a change.
This car here. Tell us a little bit about it.
It's a Mazda RX7, raced by a friend of mine, Alan Moffat. Alan and I have a sort of a business relationship. Unfortunately, he's got dementia these days, so I haven't seen him for some years, but all the best, Alan, if you get to see this. With his race cars, with his RX7s, he had left-hand drive and right-hand drive versions. Now, depending on the circuit he was driving on, or racing on, I should say, he would go clockwise or anti-clockwise on the circuit, so he'd have a left-hand drive or a right-hand drive car to suit that particular circuit. That way, with the weight distribution and the forces that are involved, he was quicker around certain corners in a left-hand drive car than he would be in a right-hand drive car, or vice versa.
Ah, that's good, isn't it? That's cool. What is that called? That's called strategy, isn't it?
Strategy, yes.
That's it,
Alan was a very good strategist. Yes.
Very strategic, if you're watching.
Yes.
Very strategic. Wow.
Yeah.
What a nice car. Raced in Florida as well, was it?
He went all over the world, yes. Yeah. He raced Porsches at Le Mans.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Blimey.
Yeah.
It is nice. You said you'd have this one out of all the
yeah.
cars
Well,
here.
I did have one of these cars, not a race car, but a road going car at
Yeah.
home 10 years ago when Alan came up to visit. He actually looked at the car and thought it was fantastic. He said, "What are you doing with it?" I said, "I'm turning it into one of your race cars, Alan." And he just shook his head.
Well, you take that one, and I'll take the Ford Capri.
Okay.
The English version, the British
yeah.
version, obviously,
Yeah,
of course.
Of course.
Right, well, is this where we end the video?
No,
No,
we have a surprise for you.
you've got a surprise
We
for
have
me.
a surprise for you.
Tell me more.
Well, who likes Capris?
I love Capris.
Well, look over there.
Oh my word. That. Oh, look at that. Here's it standing up on my arm. Just take a closer look, my friends. Right, this is fantastic. This is your car, Ted, right?
Yeah, it's one that was actually in storage for a long time, and bloke, they gave me a tip off, and I thought, yeah, I'll grab that. First car I ever bought in my life was back in 1976 was a 1969 Capri, so I had to have another one. So
Is this one built in the UK?
no, this one, when you had a look at the build plates, actually came from South Africa.
Right.
And they, as you know, the South African ones, they had the 1600 crossflow, but they went up to the 5-litre V8s, the Piranhas, and it's the only. I think South Africa is the only place that they actually made them as a production model.
Yeah.
The 5-litre Windsor engine, and they used to go like clappers.
The wheels are nice.
Actually, it's funny because the wheels came from John Brown Wheels in UK. They're a great bunch of people. They're very, very good, and they kept good communication. And it was the only place I could buy the wheels where they had the gold centres in them.
Yeah.
To match the stripes. So I was very happy with them. They made sure they were nicely packaged and all the rest of it. And couldn't recommend them high enough.
How long have you had it for?
I've had the car for probably about 6 years now.
Yeah.
Of that, probably about a year and a bit has been sort of just fixing up the car. The paint job you see was actually on the car when I got it. Before the guy stored it, he was going to make it into a hot rod and cut it up. But when I got it home, I found it was a matching numbers GT. So I thought that's probably the worst he could have done. So what I do is just basically fix up everything and all the bushes, all the engine, transmission, everything like that. And yeah, she's just a beaut car to drive now. It's an everyday driver. It's not a concourse winner. And that's what I like about it.
That's what you need. I mean, it's nice to put them away and keep them in a museum, but they're made to be driven.
Made to be driven, and every time I get into it, it brings my mind back to 1976 when I had the first car. I thought, oh yeah, this is nice. And you just drive down the road, and it loves the open road. It's happy at purring along at 65, 70 miles an hour. Loves it, and it's just a lovely car to drive, comfortable, and so
puts a smile on your face. It's the kind of, because back in the UK, these are the cars that was in Minder and the Professionals, etc.
Right, exactly.
You probably had them series over here, and it was the ones where they're skidding them around, jumping over the bonnet of them, and it's just it's fun. It's what a car.
Yeah, I just love them. I love the shape of them. I always have. I love the way they drive. They handle really nicely. They turn on a sixpence. This one here, I mean, it's got the 1600 crossflow Kent engine, so it's quite economical, and it just purrs along beautifully. So lovely.
She's lovely. She's gorgeous. Yeah. Look after her.
Oh, I will, don't you worry.
Thank you.
No worries at all.
Going to take a look at this one now.
Yeah.
So we've got Greg here. Now,
hello.
You're brothers, aren't you?
Correct.
Brilliant. Brothers, and you've both got Capris.
Yes.
Now that is what I call a family. That is brilliant. Do you fight whose is the fastest?
No, we know whose is the fastest.
Whose is the fastest?
Mine.
Yours is the fastest.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about your beautiful car here.
So this one here is a 3-litre GT V6.
Yeah.
So all original car, as per original paintwork, except that it has had touch-ups here and there. And yeah, just a very nice old car. Obviously drives like an old car, as they do. So, and in Australia, of course, we only had the 3-litre V6 or the 1600 GT. So, yeah.
What's the background on it? Where did it originate from?
Interestingly enough, this car I bought from the original owner, and it was here in Perth, Western Australia. So he had it for 40 odd years, and I was fortunate enough. It had been in storage for over 20. And so it had to be recommissioned. The engine had to be, basically we put diesel down the bores and got it freed up gently over time and got it started again, and yeah, it's still good. Goes great.
Was it built over here then?
As far as the manufacturer goes?
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't know. I don't know. They have an Australian compliance plate on them, but I don't know whether they're actually assembled in Australia or not.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to find
that would be a Google thing.
Yeah, that's to Google it. If you know, pop it in the comment section down below. Yeah. She's absolutely gorgeous. Do you have a name for her?
No.
No, you should give her a name because she's a beauty. Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I was just saying to your brother, did you have the professionals in mind here?
Absolutely, because I've also got a Mark III Capri.
You have?
I have, yes. Unfortunately, couldn't bring it today because it's off the road, but that has a 5-litre Ford V8 in it.
That was the ones off the Professionals, if I remember.
Correct. They had the S 3-litre S Capris, 1981, I think. I don't know. but also they had the RS2000 as well, which I also have as well, a white RS2000. So yeah, I was a big fan of the professionals. In fact, it was the professionals that converted me to Capris later in life.
You see, that is where it all spurs from back in the day.
Yeah, yeah.
You'd got, because I mean, now I was saying to David that nowadays you've got all these electric cars, talking electric cars again, but can you imagine the professionals pulling up in a Tesla? Wouldn't be quite as cool, would
Well,
it?
you wouldn't hear them coming.
That's probably a good point, actually. So the criminals would be all right. They wouldn't get away.
You get them by stealth.
But skidding around, you'd see him changing gear and pulling up the handbrake.
And then jumping over the bonnet.
The bonnet. I just said that, jumping over the bonnet. Yeah, do that in a Tesla, it's a dent, wouldn't it, or fall to pieces. Thank you very much. What an absolutely gorgeous car.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Right, I'm taking my hat off to you because what a day. Absolutely fantastic. Not only have we seen a self-driving electric bus, which is the future, apparently. Yeah, we will see. Probably will be eventually. Everything else is automated.
Yeah.
Till's automated over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, in supermarkets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even toll roads, well, we don't have toll roads in WA, but over east toll roads are automated now.
Everything's being automated. Soon there will be no need for anybody.
No. Let's go then.
And and we've got the original electric car, the very old electric car as well.
Detroit. Yeah.
Detroit, yeah. And we'd also got, obviously, the Capris, which were fantastic.
Capris, yes.
It's
not what you know, it's who you know.
That was the icing on the cake, that was. Now then, before we go and before you go, don't go anywhere. I need your help, okay? You have a YouTube channel.
Cars with Character.
Cars with Character. This guy has been an absolute gentleman since I've been here in Australia. And you've got your own YouTube channel. You've got your own Facebook page as well.
Yes, Cars with Character AU.
Yeah, I'm going to put all these links in the description down below. However, what we need to do, because you're going to be publishing more content on your YouTube channel.
This year, definitely. Yes.
This year. So, and there's lots of interesting stuff like this. So if you do like this kind of stuff, then you need to head over and subscribe to his channel. His channel will be on the end and also down below in the link in the description down below. So head over and subscribe to him. And I think you're on about how many at the moment as we record this?
919 this morning subscribers, and I need about another 500 hours.
Right. So let's get him up to 1,000 subscribers. Do it now. Head over and subscribe, and you can see more of this guy and more cars and stuff.
Got plenty of videos. There's well over, well, I think there's about 300 videos now.
Oh, blimey. And you do the, obviously, the Cars and Coffee. You go to that.
Do that.
And you film some of that as well, don't you?
When I get a chance. You saw how busy we were last time.
Yeah, and it was hot as well.
Yeah,
so anyway, head over. I hope you've had a really good time. I've really enjoyed today.
Good.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
And hopefully, if I can get a chance when I come back from Sydney, I'll try and get to the next Cars with Coffee as well. Thanks for watching. If you are not subscribed to this channel as well, obviously hit the subscribe button. Do it now to both of us, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Now, normally at this point, we walk off into the distance. Should we do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.